Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another day of collegiate PUBG. I'm the Little Fuzzy Seal, and today I'll be joined by T. Murph. How you doing today, man?
Good. Nice to be back.
So we're gonna be going into so there's two lobbies that we're splitting all these games into, and we're watching. I guess they've been calling themselves a lobby too. Do you have the team list that we're working with right now?
I don't have it in front of me. Let me see if I can find it for us.
Yeah, I'll link you, and then while we're checking out the map and whatnot, you try and figure out what we should be looking at, what some stronger teams are, and maybe if you're feeling really spicy, what are some weak teams?
Ooh,
Some
okay.
some weaklings. It'll be easy to kill, but it'll be insane if they win.
So looking at lobby 2 here, Indiana University looks like they had a strong first 3 games on Miramar. J-Nop's the hard carry of that team.
Ooh. Why is
But it
that? Why is that?
looks like everyone stepped up a little bit. I think J-Nop by far has the most hours from that team in the game, at least competitively. This is the first year they've actually fielded a team. So fun to see. Love to see those new teams coming in here and getting stuff done. But we also have some strength here in Arizona State. I expect a little more out of Florida State, actually. It looks like they had a rough first 3 games just off the points that they pulled. But definitely a few strong teams here to keep an eye out on. and a few of the weak ones that they can pick off, but I won't name names. I'm not that kind of guy.
Oh man, even though I'm asking you to be toxic, you won't do it.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
That's some professionalism right there. All right, well we're gonna be going into game one. So all the games that we'll be going over today are all going to be on Erangel. So the first one of the 3 that we'll be going toward, and it's looking like this is going to be a relatively nice flight plan that we're seeing, just north to south, pretty much right down the middle. Most teams will have a place they can call home. That being said, we have had a couple of hot drop issues in the past, whether by choice or not. It's kind of hard to tell, but might have a couple early fights happen because of that playstyle.
An interesting thing I've always noted out of planes like this is cities like Yasnaya happen to become hot drops just because teams think that are far enough off the
Rozok's
plane
gonna be
that no one's
hot. Pachinki's
it
gonna be
doesn't think
hot.
that drops here.
Yeah.
Always. But drops that just seem not too far end up becoming hotter for sure. But it doesn't even look like we have a single team headed there. UCF may have reaction dropped Yasnaya actually.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty good idea, actually.
Seeing it there.
I think they're actually maybe going some cars on the road outside of it. Either way, they will be able to get to Yasnaya, as no one else is even heading east in that direction. And Rozok as well empty, so yeah, kind of what you were saying. Oh, we need to go all the way to Georgia Pool. Oh, Sunken City ruin split, because all these other places are going to be taken. And Janoff at New University having to go for, I don't know how to call this garbage, but it's definitely like the outskirts of a town. They're going to be able to, oh, wait, hold on. Janoff's not going to make it to this car before Millipanda. He's going to have to book it right back over to the compound walls. Is Millipanda going to go for a roadkill? I think that he might. Oh, he didn't see him.
I think he does see him. The Janoff's already positioned to play around this tree, and I think Mellow Panda should and will give it up pretty quickly.
Oh, man. All right. Well, good timing there on the retreat. Rubik's Cube was coming in to use tackle attack with the UAZ. Who knows what would happen there. A mini shot from It's Your Wi-Fi is going to be coming out here toward some of these out-positioned players. But I think that they will be able to get out okay here, barring a lucky mini headshot. Yeah, they're going to be able to get out of here to the north just fine. And a little bit of a spicy start. Slightly inefficient considering they're all playing in a small compound with Rozok empty. But they're all going to be out okay. And looking at the first zone, they're actually going to be inside of it as well. So you can't be too angry about that.
So FSU definitely catches the bonus here, getting apartments and school. They're just going to have way more loot than Indiana. Hopefully if Indiana plays it right, they can rotate quick. Hopefully they just have more than one of that car. Ooh. Little
First
fight
blood.
here up on Heaven.
It's already over. Ogier was able to finish him off with a Tommy gun in that hot drop. We do have a couple of teams out here, and I used to call these just the yellows. I can't do that anymore, but I don't know how. I don't have a new name for them, so I don't know what to call these little shanty towns, I guess. But it looks like GC, the boys on Grand Canyon University, which I don't believe I've cast yet, because that name just kind of sounds awesome. I don't know why. It's just very epic. Like there's a university dedicated to the Grand Canyon.
Well, it is a pretty sweet place if we're going there. I always, I think I named this the Dirty Dozen is what we called it, because it's a 6 and 6 stack right there. That's the little name we gave to it. The GCU had a good first 3 games. They're in 3rd place right now in the lobby. So excited to see if they can pull anything off on Erangel here, if they can make their way in the circle.
Spancocker, who was contesting the Dirty Dozen, and will be pulling back away after she loots her half of it over to Ox Johnson, Ken Boyd, and the rest of her team, as they will be able to get a couple of cars early and go on north. So going for some scavenging strats, a very, very wide split on their drop, but definitely kind of shows how the confidence of the team. Like saying, all right, we're going to be able to drop split, and we're not going to be in a position where when phase 2 pops, one guy's going to be in Zarky and the other guy's going to be able to power. That's not going to happen to us, so we're going to have a plan to link up and actually play as a cohesive unit going into the mid game, which is always good to see for some teams, because not all of them can do that if they go for those split drops.
For sure. And it's amazing to see how so many teams were willing to give up cities here in the beginning. We didn't see anyone Razak, we didn't see anyone Pachinki, and we saw a late entrance into Yasnaya. It'll be interesting to see if anyone watches the VOD real quick, going back and does end up taking one of those cities, because there was a lot of garbage loot going on around, and frankly, it's going to punish some people later, potentially.
No, I definitely agree with that. While it's important and impressive that teams like UCF can go for these wide drops, contesting the Dirty Dozen, having one guy loot one compound, and, more eastward sitting, so hopefully that'll be enough before they head on in. Also having the skills and the awareness to, look at the plane, see when and where people are dropping, and identifying those very, very important spots, like Pachinki, which is, frankly, one of the best spots in the game to drop both in density and its position on the map, which leads to consistently easy rotates. Not being able to spot that kind of thing out is going to hurt teams in the long run. And like you said, getting themselves kitted up nice and early. And as a result, a lot of teams are going to be going for some awkward drops, you know, Ruins, Watertown, contesting garbage. And even in this Milta team, they didn't even drop in Milta. They dropped in the Milta outskirts as they're potentially trying to gatekeep the Sosnovka military team, but they're not going to be having many supplies either. So a lot of people's setups seem like they're mostly contingent on just having enough to function. But if ever at any point push comes to shove for these teams, they might just be caught out, you know, not having a scope, not having the meds they need, not having the armor they need. Compared to some teams, you know, like our Yasnaya team that were able to identify an early city that was not taken, getting there early on, and even this particular game, this isn't always going to be the case, but in this particular game, they are going to be completely uncontested in this particular location.
For sure. Early loot changes later fights, and it can manipulate and change as you get into the fights and then loot the dead bodies. But, wow, yeah, that's a lot of band-aids right there.
He has decided to take the bandages. He's going to be nice and healthy later on.
We'll see. We'll see. At least you can move while you're using them now.
Oh, dude. It's one of those things that's interesting about PUBG, where I feel like it's one of those games that has been cognizant of like other battle royales that have come out and then making positive changes to theirs as a response. Sometimes it's gone a little too far in some cases, but there's a lot of like little quality of life change that have happened as a result of that. There's always going to see ability for this game. Either way, though, enough talk of the meta state of the video game. We're going to be seeing ASU going for some early rotates here. Now, I did see Fear to Fork play in a recent tournament at Gamecock, which is not usually just a phrase that I am allowed to say or even used to saying on air, but it's a proper noun, so I'm going to go for it. But Fear to Fork, one of the stronger players in the lobby, going to be heading on to the northeast. Definitely saw him put on some good shows. He's going to be scouting for his team as he heads on forward here. And as long as he doesn't flip that Dacia, I think he's going to be a pretty good asset for his team as they can continue on to the northeast. That being said, we have not talked about this zone yet. And it's a pretty interesting one, but so far I feel like it's being played pretty well here. This is one of those kind of situations where there's two big, in my opinion, like, things to note about it. Number one is Naya's in play, which is a city, and you always want to enter cities as late as possible if they're in the zone. And number two, Stalver is in play, which it's a lot less clear what, like, how you are supposed to play Stalver, but the TLDR of Stalver is that your positioning isn't always gonna matter. It isn't always obvious to tell who's in the strong spot, who's in the weak spot. Sometimes a foreman can just roll up and take control of the game, just like
Stalber is one of my favorite endpoints just because it doesn't happen all that often, and the hill just adds for super wild mechanics and just some interesting fights that you would not usually see.
Oh man. Alright, well, FSU is actually going to be rolling up on the east side of Yaz, which is actually the only place that's currently being held by the UCF Black team. Now, Bonsko's going to be getting inside of his Dacia, which is going to be alerting FSU to his presence, but I think he's going to be getting out of dodge before, I say Dacia, that's a UAZ, but he will be getting out before they actually can get in position to get any shots on Melopanda, acting opposite of the name, trying to get online as fast as possible before they get to the, oh, before they get to the hilltop, but oh, what's going on here? Oh no, watch out! I think in earlier forms of PUBG that would have killed him. And actually,
I remember when that used to be a knock for sure.
Yeah, and how many tires they lost? They've only lost one tire. That UAZ, he was trying to back up. He couldn't move it, but they should definitely be aware that they can move this UAZ if they want to.
Slightly, but it does have trouble starting up the hill. Is the big struggle there of a one missing back wheel UAZ. So we'll watch and see. But it was smart of them to give up that 2-2 split very quickly when they heard a whole squad roll up onto them.
Yeah, that's a very, very good reaction to the 2-2 split. It looks like they had a decent plan in mind, as well as able to get out of there quickly. The rest of the other 2-2 split from UCF Black are going to be holding up inside of Heaven. Definitely putting a lot of emphasis on the question of what are we going to do if the zone heads south. Because if the zone heads north, then you can just show up late. And actually, we'll be going south here. So this 2-2 split here between UCF Black is going to be pretty effective, but the question is, what are Yanta and Bondsguard going to do? I hope that they are aware that if they use this UAZ properly, they can leave with it. Yeah, there we go. Back it up effectively. UAZ, in my opinion, one of the best vehicles as far as, like, if you've lost tires, you can still function. But no, they're really screwing the pooch on this one. They've lost now 2 tires, and that is 3 tires. Yeah, that's not going to move anytime soon. This 2-2 split is now going to go in a real bad way real soon.
That 3-point turn put them right into sight lines, and Florida State quickly took out the rest of the wheels. UCF's going to be stuck on a 2-2 split for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that's not going to be a good place for them. It's gonna it's gonna be coming or turning from a 2-2 split into just a 2 split because I don't think that the Northeastern boys are going to be still though. Arizona State University getting in a small scuffle against USC. Looks like Chaotic has lost his vehicle. Seaver trying to get shots through the smoke, but can't quite find them. It's looking like, though, with all the smokes that are being put out, USC should be able to disengage properly. Incubator and Aziz have already made it out. The only problem is that Chaotic is a little bit too far forward, but I think using 5 or 6 smokes should be able to get out of this one okay.
Yeah, USC is going to just pull back and commit themselves to play in the woods for a little bit here. Running into ASU this early is a pretty scary fight to take on.
Yeah, especially when they're already held up in that compound. If they're against windows, against guys, this isn't like quite open terrain, but it's definitely not the most pleasant to fight in the world. They would much rather just disengage. Incubator going onto the right side, but we still have Chaotic going through the Mansion forest, and as we're seeing right here, Mansion is currently occupied, so they got to be aware of that. Wait, what's going on here? Like, these guys just get crashed by FSU? What is happening? That was not the end I thought was going to happen, as it looks like Mixer is able to clean these guys up in this 2-2 split. Did lose a few players, that numbers advantage was enough to get there, but look at this Mixer. It's kind of like in airports where it's like, all right, don't help people put on their air mask first, get your own health up first. Mixer popping his own first and making sure he doesn't get hit by a stray bullet. Lose windows before he starts these rushes off onto Goosey and Wi-Fi.
FSU gives up 2 knocks, and the first knock is pretty critical, but they do take out the 2 from UCF right there, which is really big. That's just big kill points. It looks like they lost their wheels as well, though.
Oh man, this is a little scary, man. Like this, everyone, people are just gonna take turns getting stranded here, man.
Apparently, it's the house on the hill, and everyone's watching it.
Oh yeah, especially Arizona down on the low ground. Definitely curious how they'll be playing this moving forward, but they're not in the most centralized spot, so while they're making it look pretty strong right now, their real story is what's going to happen later on. We do have a few teams that are taking up positions in center zone, one of them being the now repositioned South Carolina, but this is a little bit, in my opinion, it's a little bit too early to take a spot like this. They're not really allowed to play the hill, and they know it, which is good. You know, they're playing the low ground below the hill, making sure they don't overextend here. But they're not going to be able to pressure anyone around them. And if they're not able to do that, then people, you know, they might just run them over. And either way, even if USC is able to keep their heads down while not being able to maintain much pressure, and they're able to stay alive, they might just lose out on a lot of kill points as they go later on in this game. This is definitely
like you said, the biggest part, most difficult part about holding that bowl is if you go up to get sight lines, to take shots at anyone, you're going to get punished by 4 to 5 teams that are sitting around there with views onto you. You definitely need the circle to help you and take out a few of those angles before you can confidently play that.
With a hard shift to the northwest here, but now this fight isn't looking too good anymore. Them and many other teams that are here on the east side are going to be beginning their rotates here off to the east side. Chaotic being one of them. All 3 players that are alive going inside that Dacia. Rest of ASU going to be following suit. Oh no, Chaotic! He crashes to the guardrail. Is there going to be some straight outs coming out? Hunsler trying to get shots onto that Dacia. I think that they will be able to get out okay. While Fork and Toast are going to be wrapping around this. And USC feeling a little bit too pressured, going to be stopping inside of his 9 apartments instead. A very, very defendable spot. The only question is how long is it going to remain in the zone? The rest of ASU getting 100% a better spot, much more centralized on the western outskirts of Yaz here.
Indiana ended up getting a shift onto them after playing that junk loot around there. They've kept the area. Now they just get a hard hold onto the field.
What happened, Gumdrop? Your teams are all in... Oh, that's what happened. He got ejected from the bike, but they're going to be going in for a big crash here. The surviving players here. But ASU, they have got their number. They got here at the right place at the right time, and just in the nick of time to take DCU out of this game. I think down to a single player. Yeah, it's Happy Feet trying to live up true to his name, trying to find another spot to live. But there's more apartments that are being contested here on the defense. BGC trying to survive a push against Prap and his teammate Ogie, but Vector getting a lot of nice value in, but still UCF block going into this as a 2-man. This might not be worth the contest, and Ogie is going to figure that out the hard way as he gets taken down, and Prap getting finished off as well on the outside of the building. Nice hold there by Buckeye Gaming Collective, making sure that T-Chaps does not get flushed.
Ohio State, good apartment hold. You got to keep your foothold in the city when you can find a little one. And they've got theirs cut out right here.
A lot of teams inside these apartments now. Happy Feet getting mud all to his own as well. It's going to be a hefty rent he has to pay for that one. Landed without any tenants there. But more fights happening here on the edge of the zone. It looks like PIL Marietta College has taken the spot that was being held before by that other three-man team. They're doing a decent job holding it. It definitely gets a lot better when the zone's at your back and you have less shots to worry about from your rear. And it looks like Anxiety Bite's getting hit out of his car. Yeah, definitely an untold story that didn't catch it on camera, but I think it's pretty obvious what exactly happened to these two players as Anxiety Bite's bleeding out. And Vitamin T's an original loser off to the far south side of the zone, looking like they might soon be forced into a fight against the boys in orange on Morningside PUBG.
This will be an interesting fight. These two are both relatively lower on the scoreboard, so it'll be funny to see.
Funny.
Or exciting to see.
I thought you said you were going to be toxic. What the heck?
Funny to see who comes out on top. All right. But yeah, something like that. Maybe a little toxic. It's fine.
And they're going to be spotting these guys out on the edge. But what's double 6x, one the Vector, one the SLR. I have a friend who would always do this, and it's infuriating every time. Hopefully his buddies have enough scopes here. He will be able to get some nice shots here onto Vitamin, but this fight can't last too long. We are in phase 4. It has just shrank, and a hard shift to the north, heavily favoring his Naya is what we're seeing here. But Dr. TikTok getting a nice headshot to original loser. Big 81 damage headshot. Now Vitamin T's as well is in headshot territory. And these smokes, they're looking very, very scattered. Like the 4 smokes all in the low ground. If Vitamin T's disengaging here to the right, these smokes are going to accomplish literally nothing. These are push smokes. These are not retreating, disengaging smokes. He's going to be backing off. Hopefully his UMP will give him strength. No, it will not. Looks like the 6x Vector play there from Void was going to give him the courage to land his SLR shots.
Too many 6Xs with eyes on him. He wasn't going to make it very far with that smoke trail.
And more pushes happening as well there. Looks like Indiana University maybe going for a small scout. They're definitely not all together here in a push against British Columbia, but some nice knocks from both teams is going to make this a very, very bloody fight. Looks like British Columbia, they're going to be going down to a single player left off. Now, how much are Indiana University going to commit to this? They've already lost quite a few players. Rubik's Cube coming into support. Toxic Marker very far away, but Hazard. Too much sound, too much chaos going on all around him. Indiana University going to be able to use it to their advantage. Push into the compound without a single shot coming his way, at least from that team. He'll be getting shot in the sides, from the east, and I believe the north side, as he is scrambling to get these switches off. Rubik's Cube getting up Gobble. I don't think Janop survived. So yeah, that's what, like we said before, the carry has been taken down from this team, but Indiana University did win a foothold inside phase 4.
That is huge for them to lose Janop there, but they were able to take out 3 from UBC on that push. They still have more pushes to come, as it looks like it's going to be a Yaz ending, but we'll see how it goes.
Potentially. Looks like a nice rotate here from MSC, getting themselves in the northeast side of Yaz. Now, there's a really big story that's going on here for me right now. Games rarely end in cities. Yaz is one where I have seen like exactly one ending. But with that in mind, it's probably going to shift in some other direction. It doesn't have to, but it probably will. So right now, I'm looking at teams that are outside with the biggest chances for success. And for me right now, that might be St. Ambrose University here on the northern edge. They have a ton of surface area all to themselves. They're already pressuring other teams that are outside. You know, for example, getting some shots there on to MacU. That's going to be McMaster University. Making sure that they've already de-wheeled as many cars as they can and winning a lot of peak battles. They're trying to make sure that it's going to be as hard as possible for McMaster University if and when they have to move from this compound.
They do have such a nice spot here with no one behind them already. So strong coming from the north down. They get to play these rocks the whole way without a whole lot of congestion coming around.
And that's the main problem with this rock. So you're getting shot in the back from the high ground, but they control all of it. The entire northern third of the zone is going to be fine. But wait, what's going on here? East side apartment push. There's so many apartment pushes. It's actually crazy. Dr. TikTok going literally on his own. Steve-O and Void playing back saying, hey, you have a good time with that, friend. And I'm pretty sure this is a 3 or 4 man team that is contested. This Dr. TikTok getting some frags. Chuck from the, actually these are smokes getting chucked, but Dr. TikTok did not know that he was successfully pushed out by that. It looks like his teammates are providing a little bit of pressure. Steve-O, we see receiving a little bit of damage there, but I don't think they're going to be too willing to join in on this push. I'm really curious what the plan is here from Dr. TikTok. At this point, FSU have gotten all of their reses off, and he can't leave very easily either with all the windows on this building. It's a hell of a play for sure.
They did have 2 knocks, but it's surprising that he would go make that move by himself.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he just looks to hold the downstairs now and hopefully surprise some people on their way out. But that bait nade smoke was the best way to keep him off the push, as only one man was there holding it.
It could be him going for a sneaky camping play, or it could be him screaming into his mic to his team why they aren't following him. I'm not sure exactly which one of those will be, but he'll be alone, that's for sure. You see F Gold in the meantime making their own push into Yaz, with the last players in Nomad Wrath and Span Cargo barely scrambling inside those buildings. It looks like that Ox Johnson is going to be feeling good enough about that rotate to follow them in suit. Maybe a different location though. They're going to be using some smokes here to try to shred themselves a little bit as they come into the side. Ooh, but a slightly more awkward crash and explodes them a little bit more, but no one watching them this time until it's a little bit too light. Ox Johnson and Ken Boy joining Span Cargo inside. One of the many teams in South PS9. Now the last team going to be coming in. Indian University is an open spot for them. There's a lot of buildings, but they have no information on what's going on besides in those apartments. Gobble Gobble's car is doing something, but he will be able to survive that reduced cube as well. He'll be joining him with a third player, Toxic Marker, just in case their spot was occupied. He'll be going for an apartment on his own. So decent plays there from Indiana, getting inside of PS9 safely. But at this point, the other 10 teams have already made this play as well.
It's amazing how many teams we already have committed to the city, although the circle does shrink down directly onto Yaz.
Oh my god, this is actually a Yaz ending, and now all of a sudden, I was saying before, all these teams that are outside of Yaz, they're going to be having such a strong position. Yeah, not anymore. Going into a city this late, it's still possible, and it looks like McMaster University is going to try to make it happen. It's still possible, but it gets real scary, especially if you're so far on the edge. They have almost no information going on here. It looks like Oblivion Ace is going to be trying to get inside the Pryos, but there's already not one, but two teams inside this location. Oblivion under a lot of fire alongside his teammate, finding themselves a little trash can to hide behind, but getting hit by a third, fourth, I don't even know which party number they were hit by, but Oblivion the Ace, I do not see him walking away from this one safely. Oh, these are the rest of his teammates, actually. Okay.
Yes. So only two teams, including them. But it does look like a shot from down the road actually is what took him out. So he might be able to get inside, despite the nade taking him down from his teammate.
No, that was himself.
No, that's his
just
own.
fragged himself. He thought that was a smoke for sure.
Oh jeez, hate to see it.
No, man.
Chad.
it's real hard to tell exactly where this zone's gonna go, who's gonna be favored by it. All we can do is really just buckle up and stay in for the ride. Now there's only one team that's not inside of Yaz, and these guys don't even have any cars yet. So while their position was very, very strong before, now they're coming in on the edge and will either have to shoot or sneak their way in through the zone. Keep an eye on all the players that have to move. One of the teams, ASU on the southwestern edge, will have to creep their way into the zone, but they found a nice little wall that is currently unflanked. And Happy Feet. He's going to need to have some quick feet of his own to survive this four-man push coming into his apartment.
The last member of Grand Canyon here, ASU had taken out the rest when they came in for their crash. Now he's holding this stair line, hoping he can get ASU as they try to come in.
Here they come. He's holding the angle. One quick knock with no response there from Fork. Follow-up frag down the staircase, trying to get some space for himself. Reloaded. Going back down, but buying this much time for himself. Also is buying time for ASU to get their own res on the Punslayer. Brewer will go for that, while Happy Feet continues to retreat up to the third floor there, getting the first aid cut off. He will be able to survive for quite a while and might even be able to make a cheeky play outside the windows of the building, but this is still a 1v4. Very hard for Happy Feet to win.
See him still, they know he's here now, so it's going to be much tougher for him to get a surprise knock onto 4 people coming up these stairs here. You can hold the isolated angles, but if they just throw bodies at him, that should be a kill for ASU.
Yeah, only question is how many kills will he get in the meantime. If they're fast enough, then I doubt he'll be able to get all of them, but hey, it's still a chance. Happy Feet has already proven himself to be a very, very strong shot here in these CQC scenarios, and it looks like at this point ASU playing windows on the outside of the exterior of this building. They're more focused on their next step rather than dealing with a single solo that if they don't go to the second floor, they don't even have to contest.
If they did pay attention to names, they do know that he's the last man from the team there, hanging on in the building. So that's not much attention that they need to afford him. They're already looking for their next move.
Nice plays there as they're able to cross. I think that was Indiana that was putting some shots in the direction, but they will be able to get out of there okay. Meanwhile, situations developing elsewhere. Third team coming in for real this time into the Pryos, as well as MSC trying to sneak their way into the zone. It looks like Goosey is able to survive so far in his own split from his team. Mixter and the rest of those guys trying to cover him from their own building. This frag might be the flush they're looking for on the Stevo.
Look looking for it, but he's back in that room already. They're just holding the line. Lucy jumps off the roof into that little cutout on the apartment. He might look to his next play.
Nice cheeky angle, but side coming there. Lucy Goosey unable to find the knock on the follow-up either, but Mixer is able to get one on Stevo, just giving himself a little more space. But look at that, too tight of an angle. He was found out there. And now Tick, low HP, Void, very, very low as well. And looks like Millipanda looking to end this fight. A lot of solo pushes coming out. Let's see what Millipanda can get done on his own. Do they hear him coming at? Dr. Tick definitely does. Clear on the right, but he runs to the left inside. Void had no idea it was coming. A nice follow-up. Oh, he was ready for Dr. TikTok, but being at low HP means he couldn't finish that fight off, and no follow from FSU is going to result in not one, but 2 flushes in favor of Morningside PUBG. FSU now down to only 2 players in what could have been a really effective push, quite frankly.
They had 2 trying to hold the lines and give the help. The apartment just gives such odd angles that they weren't able to really cover that push, and he almost made that flick.
Oh my god. There's chaos going on wherever you look at it. Give up. Oh, is he going for a play? Yeah, he's going for a big one. Crimson had no idea that was coming. The trigger was coming on the front side as Krunak gets down to T-Traps. He should be able to get res, but no, he's on like second knock. Coca-Cola, you gotta go res him. He's gonna die. Oh, that's a huge flub up. He did not have to die.
He did not. Inside a building with 2 teammates. No one made the move fast enough, and second knock will get you.
And the entire time, MacU just sitting there in the little building. They haven't fired a shot in this entire fight. It's letting BGC and SIU just take all the pressure off of them. In the meantime, the survivors from this team fight on the northeast side are going to be going separate ways. While on the interior, now that the sort of dust is clearing and the center, we're already on phase 7, Marietta College is looking like by far the most centralized team. They do have 1 player across the road in the form of Martinful. A little bit of a scary play, but if the zone does end up hard shifting to the north, they're going to want someone on the other side to act as an anchor to cover them during their push across the road there.
This is an interesting split here. However, it looks like no full team will be contesting him, so it's going to be a solid 3-1 split across the road here. The closest is Dr. TikTok, but being the solo he is from Morningside, I think he just holds himself into this building for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, no one at this point, no one has any reason to move, and a lot of times in competitive PUBG, that means you have no reason to fight. As we're going into phase 8, which is, by the way, the second to last phase, it's going to shrink a little bit. Everyone's still in besides FSU. Like, they're the only team that's being kicked out. The really important development is that everyone now knows what the end game is going to be. That little roadblock with the Dacia next to it. That is the center zone here. And once again, it's going to be Marietta College who are in position to potentially end this game. The only question is, will they be able to control enough space, and will they be able to survive the onslaught coming in from literally every direction to actually live long enough to capitalize on a centralized position?
11 teams left in 8th circle means this is going to be an exciting ending. We'll see how it turns out.
We'll see how much we can actually cash. It's going to be pretty crazy here when phase 9 pops. No one has to move. And phase 9 is going to be, there's going to be 10 seconds of downtime and then 2 minutes where the zone is going to slowly encroach on the center. ASU though, oh, they're acting already here. Going to be pushing ever so closer towards center zone. And this building, this is reasonably close to center zone as well. And Rubik's Cube and Gobble not exactly ready for this kind of push as well. Fear to play for the zone. He will be taking shots there from Gobble, but getting inside this building. Big play there for Arizona State. As long as he can stay alive, he's going to be in a great spot.
Huge move here, and as it gets later, having the 2-floor roof access is going to just be so much access.
Oh, man. Plus they're last one to make the run. I think they're all able to make it. No push coming out as a recourse. Meanwhile, below, we do have a big push from SA. They're able to take out the opposing team, but a frag coming out from from Oblivion the Ace. He'll frag himself. He'll frag you. He doesn't care who he frags as long as he's chucking explosives at people. Was able to get some of those touches on his King Ned of his teammates. Trying to get some revenge. They're shooting through the small crack in the window. Can't quite find a knock there, and even if he did, he has no frags to confirm it there. Just trying to be a thorn in their side. And as phase 9 pops, here we go. Southside going to be an absolute cluster, as there's about 6 of our remaining 9 teams all here on the south side having to push forward.
Yeah, looks like we're going to see slow moves.
Oh, that's big.
South Carolina with a knock. They do have to try to find their way out, and Marietta is on a 2-2 split. This is their chance to find a foothold moving into the city.
Yeah, Black has to be red right away, while Tally and Donnelly are covering the north side, so no support being offered by them to deal with the 3-man coming in from the west side. They were actually really going for a big push here. Chaotic just wrapping in. He's going to see a third team sneak in, but yeah, he's not focusing on them. He won't say anything bad about that. Chaotic coming in. Scar in hand, but it will be the trade that will take Black down. And no one is coming out yet, but in the rear, Dally getting taken down. And now Morningside PUBG, the team that was most centralized, biting off way more than they could chew, going out in 8th place, excuse me.
So many pushes onto them. Dr. TikTok came running in like a blaze, in South Carolina from the other side got the trades that they needed to cut out middle circle for themselves.
Oh man, St. Ambrose University though. Last player hanging on. He's getting a lot of pressure being thrown onto him from the dot. More frags coming, but I think he is going to be okay. But Indiana University making a big push on ASU. This is why the play was so good, but this is not the style I would have expected. They're just playing very, very defensively, holding angles to the inside. While in the meantime, Indiana University is getting all the down, trying to do over the sweep on the outside. Now Rapid, the last player going down there, and gobble keeping Rubersky. Now left the push on the inside of this building. Rubersky making a big push. Is going to be able to find 2 different knocks inside. And his teammate Gobble flanking in from the right side as well. We'll be able to take that team down. Or at least down to 2 players. Punslayer and Butter still playing the top, while on the inside, the outside corner, Incubator still getting shots on the outside wall toward McMaster University, who is actually able to eliminate with the help of Aziz and Incubator.
McMaster drops. USC, I think, has the strongest spot here, considering everyone's slumped on that building. Depends on who has to move for circle first right now.
Gobble rushing out, Butter's taken down, and a nice push there. It'll take Incubator down as well, but Rubik's Cube heavily flanked there when USC finally sets to speak there, and instead swings some smokes out, and oh, some nice suppression. Is able to take them down. Rubik's Cube now with the last boy alive for his team. Punslayer going for the jump, and he is gonna take down the already weakened Indiana University. If you guys couldn't quite follow that, I don't blame you. I don't think that I did as well, but the last score screen is going to tell it all. Arizona State University able to get the W. Punslayer getting 5 of those kills.
Shouts to Rubik's Cube off of Indiana. He had a great game there, playing the house late too, with a 7-kill performance. Just so strong out of Indiana. They're having a great week so far.
God, city endings like that are they're so hard for me to cast, because a lot of times I'm just like, all right, like this is what's going on. This is like this is like, you know, the odds for this team. This is what has to happen for them to, you know, to sort of get in safely. In that last scenario though, it's just like there's 30 teams alive in phase 8, or 30 players alive in phase 8. Like there's just people all over the place, and one of the teams that I thought was gonna get the furthest ended up being one of the first ones that went out, and it was partially due just to kind of how far they were split. But I don't really blame them for that. Like, how do you even practice for that kind of scenario? There's 30 people alive with like 3 minutes left in the game.
I don't know how you practice these. City endings are relatively rare, and with 30 people in phase 8 is just ridiculous. It's where it comes down to there's just so many variables. You don't really know what to play until it happens. And you just saw ASU and Indiana and UCF even was there, all fighting for one building that ended up being the building to win it because it was closest to center circle.
Definitely a very chaotic zone that I'm sure the players hope will not come back soon. I can only imagine how hot their PCs are right now after that game. Probably chugging pretty hard with how PUBG
Honestly
can get in those CQC like heavy population scenarios. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed that game. We're going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, game 2 going back to Erangel. We'll be coming to you guys soon. I will see you then. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. The second game of the night is currently spooling up, so let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm, as always, Little Fuzzy Seal, and joined today by T-Murph. So, even though the last game was incredibly insane, incredibly chaotic, anything could have happened, I feel like at the end of the day, the teams that we ended up, working with and seeing at the end of the day were not teams that were like it was the same. It was kind of like the same faces, Indiana and Arizona final two.
I mean, they're sitting top of the scoreboard after the first 3 games, so it would be the players that you'd expect. So I think part of it's luck, but man,
No.
impressive to see
5
it.
kills and 7 kills on individual players. That's definitely like they just won a lot of gunfights, in my opinion.
5 kills on a player, but it was 6 for the team on a win, so they didn't take that many fights, and they got a few people rotating in.
Well, you don't
But
need to win like a million fights though to win the game. You just need to win, 1 or 2 and get enough damage out to make other teams feel like, hey, I need to go the other way instead of fighting towards this guy who's nuts. And Indiana and Arizona both had a player like that. I think that's what happened.
You're right. Winning is not all about the kills. However, the points do heavily value the kills. So even though they got second there, I do still think Indiana ended up beating Arizona State in terms of points.
And that's actually going to be, the second place team in placement. But if you're looking at the leaderboard, which it's actually put up there on the GLL tournaments page on their website. Indiana University was already in first place before that game. So if they get first place in that individual match, then I'm pretty bad at math, but that means they're just going to be even more first placer. They're going to be even more first placer. And they're
I think the proper conjugation is something like that. First place
They were first
something
place
around that.
before. They were first placedist now. We'll be seeing if they're going to be first placedister after the. I hate that I'm doing this right. Anyway, whatever. The game is starting. Let's just go ahead and see what's happening. Starting on Military Island, we have 2 different teams looking like they're going to be contesting Millie. Black Bullet looking like he's one of the first players to actually going to get nearby. But yeah, it's going to be 2 teams straight up contesting the military base, which is definitely not normal. I wonder if ASU is looking for some quick kills here.
Looks like both of them did come here last game and both made it out and into the late game. So it'll be interesting to see. Do they just not fight each other? Do they split it in half? Because I do think military does carry enough loot that's potentially acceptable.
It can carry a lot of loot, but in some locations, especially once you sort of leave these 2 teams' current drop locations, there aren't like anything that can actually block a line of sight that easily. It's gonna be really easy to see each other. If they get scopes early, it's gonna be really easy to get those shots off, especially if someone gets on the scaffolding. But that definitely goes both ways. The real story as well is where are the cars that these 2 teams are gonna get. There's a couple of spawns that are nearby. I see one off to the far east in that UAZ. But I think there's slightly more spawns over here on this side. Maybe be able to. Oh no! Wait, are there none?
I think there's more spawns, but I don't think anything spawned for them.
Are there any over here?
Sometimes there's some back near ATC. If you can look over there.
I mean, Butter's definitely looking. Like he's looking. There's nothing back here besides car spawns. Is that a car? No, those are some barrels. Wait, are these guys just insanely unlucky? Okay, no, here's an esports spawn. I'm not exactly up to date on the esports spawns in the tarmac. Butter will be able to secure that for his team. And I think that Dude is coming for it too. They're both going for the exact same direction. He didn't spot Butter.
Be interesting to see if there is an exchange. Butter definitely has the right of way to the car, and I think he's just gonna get out of there
Oh
before he can get
no.
there.
Marietta was definitely relying on Teddy to figure that out. And now that he has no car for himself, he's just left. All right, I guess I'm going to run towards ASU and see if we can get some kills here. Well, they've been going for that. There has been some car 9 shots that are being exchanged between Punslayer and I think it was Black Bullet. But ASU is going to secure that car. They're going to get some loot. They're going to get all 4 butts in seats and try and get out of Dodge. And as we already established, the only other vehicle is off to the far east side. Although, we're in a melee zone. So these guys that were fighting so hard for cars, they definitely won them, but it's not too important. But oh, Teddy getting some shots early. Is he going to find a knock here?
Shots on the multiple members. Oh, he gets one knock.
2? Oh my god, great shots there from Teddy, and that's pun and fork going down as the third player is weak, and these guys are panicking. Butter just saying, trying to fit a square through a circle shape is not quite working. Just absolutely trying to figure out if he wants to go for a disengage or if he is trying to save his teammates. He has very little loot here, very few meds. But as more shots begin to count, he does not want to test Teddy anymore. He is going to be disengaging, going off to the southeast. Humongous victory in favor of Marietta College.
Wow, I can't believe he was able to take 2 people out of that car. And ASU didn't even make a play to try to save them, despite being down in these planes. That's a big loss for Arizona State this early on a melee circle.
Huge, man. And that definitely didn't have to happen. That was just like a lack of respect there for DUT. They weren't even like serpentining that much. They began to land some shots and they're like, wait a sec, hold up, what's going on? Like they could have just easily gone west, which they know for a fact is away from this team. But no, they went south, which they were getting pushed. This team was already pushing that direction. And as a result, these guys are going to get flushed out of this game here.
Huge swing right here.
All right, what else is going on around the zone? Butter and Brewer actually going all the way down south, but GCU going for an incredibly wide split. Two players in Novo and 2 more of them in Farm. UCFG is going to be rolling on by. Is Happy Feet going to try and get shots, or is he playing stealth right now?
Looks like he's going to take a little look at what's going on.
Oh man, the shots are insane right now.
Pulls one out of the car. Span Cargo gonna go down here. Wow. Man, people are just picking them out of cars right now. Cars are just driving too close to compounds. If you can give enough of a berth, you're not gonna lose people.
Oh man, these guys cannot get to break. Another player waiting for them. Are they gonna pull up? Oh yeah, they will. Gumdrop Buttons realizing, wait, this might not be the play. He is gonna be able to get one more knock onto Nomad Wrath, the big nerd himself. But I think that Happy Feet, yeah, he's way too far away to actually provide any sort of assistance. We saw him begin going in that direction, but nah, he has no way to get there quickly. He has no cars, and especially considering that the zone is already in this area, I don't think there's going to be many, if any, spawns left for him to grab. So not only is his teammate dead, his only player on the mainland, but also the rest of his team are currently in Novo, and unless they fire their guns in the air at like 45-degree angles, I don't think they'll actually be able to help out their teammate that much.
After such a huge split, that's the biggest downfall of it, is a crash like that. Even when you get those huge shots on originally and take one down, you still lose that exchange.
It's so weird too why they even went for the split in the first place. I don't quite understand the purpose of it. 2 in Novo and 2 later on. It looks like USC in the meantime will be beginning to move their way across the military bridge. You do hear some shots ringing out on the other side of it though, and yeah, that's going to be their cue to get out of dodge, try and go for a harder gatekeeping spot, and they need to get it set up soon if they want to gatekeep St. Ambrose. Now Saucepanda, they almost certainly see the card continuing onward. And they're actually going to be getting out in the middle of the road. Saucepanda, though, he's holding that W key. There's something to be roadkill. Oh, no, they're trying to get a wide berth here. Saucepanda, though, with some nice plays, is able. Oh, he just hit his own teammate. Oh, my God. Saucepanda just able to walk it off, using some of that invulnerability. But at the end of the day, it's only Krenak that's able to get past, as Crimson, who I believe might have come in from the boat previous, if I'm not mistaken, tried to help out his teammates a little bit. I think he might have been able to get a little bit of damage out, but it was only space that was afforded for Krenak to actually, drive away without getting too much pressure. And he's actually going to be flushing his own teammates, but that's not going to do anything. That doesn't deny the kill points.
Yeah, USC is going to pick up 3 here off of this bridge camp from people falling out of that Dacia. Craziness ensuing.
players getting back in that car. Unwell Beast 99, he's got the DP ready. Are they going to be going in for that player? They almost certainly know it's a one-man, but nah, they're going to allow him to live another day. But he sees them disengaging. His teammates are still alive, so he's probably going to be feeling, well, King Nando, who got flushed by Kreenak, it might be feeling a little salty. I know that I would.
I'm surprised that South Carolina is willing to just leave this. They saw the team flush coming down from the hill. I don't know why they were so willing to give up 2 of their knocks.
Buckeye Gaming Collective trying to land some of these shots, but 3x SLR, not the easiest thing in the world. I think that one of them might have landed. No, they didn't land. That was Sauce Panda elsewhere who was left bleeding out. I think that Crimson and Kreenak are going to be the last 2 players left alive at the end of the day. Still, though, a lot more than expected to be left alive from as many players as it got knocked and while getting bridge camped. It's a small success for Kreenak and Crimson to even be alive right now. Meanwhile, GCU's Happy Feet has found that his strategies for crossing the bridge is YOLO. But he's actually going to be getting out, going prone, and going for a heal, and that's going to give FSU a little bit of time to close the gap. They got SLRs, they got 8Xs, they got the tools they need to engage on the Happy Feet if he gets back into the car, which at this point he probably should. I don't think he should just sit here and engage a 4-man. With Lucy Goosey and Mixer coming in, we're at a point in the game where people are really, really good at drive-bys. And Mixer might just take Happy Feet to the game right now.
Happy Feet here is between a rock and a hard place with UCF set up on the other side of the bridge. He just jumps off and goes for the swim. FSU definitely saw it happen, though, so they're going to be shooting at the water in just a second.
Yeah, he's behind the pillar now, though, so I think he's actually going to be okay. His name is a penguin. He's swimming like a penguin in all states of physical. Happy Feet is a penguin at the moment, and he's trying to swing back home to his penguin family that are still looting Novo. They've been looting for 10 minutes now.
It's funny to see that they made no move to really set up a more internal spot or look for their teammate.
Oh, it's a
huge
mistake. It's a huge mistake. If you're in Novo, you're one of the only in this kind of zone. You're the only teams that can get to the radio broadcast tower, and this is one of those spots where if the zone even ends remotely near this area, this is a game-winning spot. The amount of control and pressure you're able to exert from this spot, especially as a 4-man, but even as a 3-man or a 2-man, is so impactful to the rest of the game that if you're already in this spot, then, you know, why do you care that you have the half grip over the vertical grip on your Scar? You just need to get yourself a scope, you need to get yourself to the high ground in a good position where you can help your team and try to get yourself in a better position, but that's not going to happen to be favoring loot as more and more teams still trying to break into the military island.
I'm surprised there hasn't been more of a bridge camp set up on this bridge. Yeah, the boat did come from Nova with a ride. And he should be getting out of here unless FSU hits some good shots.
Well, we've already seen a couple of insane plays so far from people getting shot out of vehicles. But even though I was slightly critical of them, making the play save Happy Feet is a nice play to be sure. And they would have been able to do that play if they were not inside of Novo. So GC, goddamn it. Grand Canyon University will be continuing forward here as a 3-man, but in a relatively edge position that isn't going to do them any favors going further into this game.
So ASU's spot down here at the bottom is really interesting because there's a few areas here where you can actually climb the cliffs and get up towards this spot. So they might be able to hold some of these big boat rotates that are going to come out from the mainland if they try to land somewhere around here. There are sneaky ways up.
Looks like Indiana University will be role-playing as some pirates here on the northeastern edge of the zone. If you're smart about this, you can actually get on top of your boat while it's like this. That's usually what you would end up doing. That gives you a little bit more space. I think you need to put the boat flush with the rocks, if I'm not mistaken. Don't know exactly how you do it, but it looks like they're trying to figure it out right now. They definitely have time to kill if this is the strategy they're going for.
Trying to make their way up onto one of the Pride rocks and take shots at the rotators. One of my favorite strategies because it's always fun to watch.
Very, very silly for sure. And no one on the boat expects it. No one ever plays around it. Master University deep inside the blue in phase 2 going into phase 3. This is beginning to be a little bit hard to deal as far as the blue ticking goes. And you know, this is the point in the game as well where they're going into phase 3, and these guys, I don't know what they looted, but they're not walking away with many meds at all. Oblivion, the fragging extraordinaire himself, is going to be walking away with quite a few meds himself, but the rest of his teammates have almost none to spare. And going into 1 DPS blue, some of these players will be using their last first aid kit to patch themselves up as they go into a zone, which they're going to be directly getting gate kept from. But look at this, they're actually making it the Pride Rock. They're taking some shots at these rotating boats. The university is. They've detonated the boat at this point, and the only 3 surviving players are Fish in a barrel, Kravab getting gunned down, and now it's just Warden, just me, who, true to his name, is the last player alive for his team. He's actually going to be drowning as well there. Oh my god, you called it. They went for the play on Pride Rock and it worked.
The cheeky play of the Rock does give them 2 kills right here on the rotate. Good play by Indiana, and that does carve themselves out a little section on this edge of the circle, making their way in.
There was a hard shift to the west in the meantime, however, and that's going to be forcing so many teams out of position. There's a lot of teams here on the west, but they're all so convinced that they're late that they haven't even begun to move yet. These military-based teams still creeping in on the side. Philoxes, whoever he is, still trying to run in on the edge. An original loser just taking some garbage out in this open field because he's afraid with 44 alive that military base is occupied. With 44 alive, it should be occupied, but it's not. It's still empty besides 1 team, or the remnants of 1 team, UCF Gold, that have just now made their way into a centralized bunker inside of the military airbase.
Military's been largely left open in favor of playing the outskirts right now, and as the circle shifted towards it, there's just a lot of area here if a full team were to attempt to crash into something more central.
Looks like Team PIO, the boys in green, have actually decided to leave the radio broadcast tower for a slightly more low ground spot. It'll be much easier for them to rotate and reposition from here. It's a little bit easier to punish though, so let's see how much work they can actually get done. They're definitely aware of UCF Black inside of the Crossroads compound, but they're doing more focus on teams to their east. This is a gatekeeping location. Gatekeeping is what they're gonna do. They're going to be trying to get shots on players that are much closer to them on the edge in much less opportune spots, rather than a team that's already secure in some high ground compounds.
Master did come in late, but they were able to make it across the bridge, and it doesn't look like they lost anyone, so looks like they've got some room here to make a little spot for a second.
Looking back over at this team, getting a car on Military Island, due to how many people go for those early boating plays, not everyone has a car, but these guys, wait, is that 5 vehicles? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is there a buggy? Or am I just losing my mind? Okay, they have 4 vehicles. they have 4 vehicles here at the moment, but they're one of the only teams that are actually capable of quick rotate, which is a humongous boon for them. The only problem right now is that there isn't really many places left to rotate to that aren't already occupied. If the zone, hard to the southeast, there'll be a different story. But nah, they're just gonna be like to play on foot, and they're probably gonna be happy with that as well.
The zone goes hard northwest, which leaves the majority of teams outside of the circle here, actually. Like you said, that boat rotate becomes difficult now because they're lacking cars on the mainland, and it's gonna be a lot of teams crashing into each other on the southeast side here.
One of the teams that are definitely in a very precarious spot here is going to be Indiana University here on the southern edge. 3 teams all to their north, but are actually all pushing towards each other. Butter in a bit of trouble, as it looks like Shab's SCG, when he crests over this hill, might have eyes. He actually did have LOS onto J Good for a second, did not actually spot him. J Good, I think that he did see them as well. Yeah, there's skylining hard, silhouetting on that ridge line. J Good definitely spotting that. And Diddy here on the... Oh no, he's not on the high ground. He's already scaling down this mountain. He will not be able to help. And Happy Feet actually spotting a different team entirely. They might have thought that this is one full team, but nah, these are 2 different teams. And Butter the Toast in the low ground, able to get 1 opening knock, but Diddy off on the flank, able to take him down, leaving only Sea Brewer alive with a team above him and a Solo Snake somewhere to his side flank. He'll have 1 more shot, put it over in his direction. Brewer trying to deal with him, but man, there's just players all over the place. It's very unclear what he should even do right now, and it looks like whatever decision he's going to make, it was going to be the wrong one. Diddy's going to shoot him in the back, which simplifies his fight a little bit for GCU, especially as we see J Good closing the gap, trying to get online with the close range dart sprays, but he needs to get a knock right now if he's going to do this. Will find one onto Cruzy. But he's getting pushed hard as a result. Happy Feet on the left side, helping him a lot there. And oh my god, you blink and you miss it. All of a sudden, UBC has fallen, but coming from the high ground, FSU taking down and taking shots at The now overly exposed GC, bringing them all down to 1 HP. Spotting out Diddy there on the low ground. The little helmet wiggling as it goes to the heel of the ridgeline. That will be a distraction that Jay Good and Happy Feet will use to get down under the ridgeline, get some heals off. But still, once FSU takes control of the high ground, it's going to be bad news for Jay Good and Happy Feet.
GCU wins a 3-team fight here, just gets severely punished coming down this hill from FSU coming out of Nova over there. They make their way down, and they're just getting punished.
Well, they're going to be okay, though.
Marietta's already made their way in here.
Well, FSU were going in, but then Jacob shot him back, which A-Sports FSU says, okay, I guess we have to kill these guys. We were going to rotate away from you, but you guys just had to keep pushing. But actually, as they get shot on the side, I think there's only one player left up, and that's Mixter, who is going to get taken down as well. Amazing play coming out from Jay Good and Happy Feet.
The smush from Marietta offered enough of distraction, and rotating through the openness, they died right there.
Man, look at these bodies. There's just crazy smokes and just bullet holes everywhere. But Martin and the rest of Marietta College, they heard this fight, and they're feeling pretty good about this. They even had a great drop on top of their heads. They are so ready for a fight here. Martin Full able to find a single SLR headshot onto the exposed Jay Good. He is able to get to the low ground in front. Trying to get a frag here for his troubles. It's a nice, easy shot, but he actually will overthrow it. Happy Feet providing some cover in the back line. Jay Good is going to be taking a lot of frags. He'll be very, very lucky if Jay Good survives his position.
They're getting so close here. Happy Feet does have the chance to bail out, but he's trying to save Jay Good, see if they can get these shots down onto Marietta.
I mean, they've done a nut job so far winning these fights, but I think that they might be getting a little bit overly aggressive here, pulling up against a full-on four-man. Happy Feet, in particular, should probably go for the disengage at this point, but we're seeing if we can get some free kills here on the overextending boys in green. No, it's too much. Jay Good is as good as dead, and Happy Feet with a 9-kill victory is going to be seeing if he can't add some placement points on top of his team's already momentous lead.
See him make the run here, but he might run into two other teams, especially UCF holding the top of the. Well, I think they moved down to inside the bunker now.
Yeah, I think
so he's got a little area college to help.
They were trying to hold the top, but I think the University actually forced them off. And no, Jay Good. Wait, they actually stole the down there. They never flushed the kill. And that's going to be Jay Good's life being stolen there by Indiana, who are, like you said, very aggressively pulling the high ground. However, with phase 5, going to be hard shifting to the southwest away from these bunkers. Indiana will be moving on first. They are aware of the team. They're the northeast UCF Gold, but they're uninterested in this thing for any longer as they're making their way across. But as they go to the edge-most bunker, they might actually get online onto Kenboy, who they didn't see them pull up here. Oh no! He crashes hard into the side. J-Nop shooting Nomad Wrath out of the car, and now a weakened Kenboy. Can he hold these guys off? No, nice. Close. Single knock and river skewed. That car is on their team as well. Kill everyone, taking them all down. And they will be able to take the southeast edge of zone just in time to secure a lot of the solos coming in on the edge. Happy Feet, sadly, will be finished off with a team who took his friends down, Marietta College. But Binky as well, we haven't talked about him as all, still being very successful in his solo sneaky strat from UC Black.
He snaked his way in here relatively successfully. Getting those placement points. He's already up to top 6 as it is.
It's very clear there's a team in front of him, though, and I think they might have spotted him already. A couple players in the low ground. He's not looking at the smoke, though, which is a bit of a flub. Hearing Tadi, though, move in and hearing these shots, ring out to another team. Binky could very well just rotate beyond this. He just makes the run up to there. Okay, that's not the winning play.
You waited so long. Why take those shots? Those are not the ones we're looking for.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God.
Quickly taken out from the bunker over there. Indiana's actually the one who's able to secure the kill over there. Janoff's online right now.
Dude, he's gotten 6 kills. I think he's only gotten like 1 straight up gunfight against like someone who is actually shooting back at him. That's why the Indiana is looking so strong. Not because they're the best team fighting team, although they might be, but it's just because they're very, very cognizant of their surroundings. Always third partying, always confirming their kills. They know the strategies that'll get them points, and it might not be the ones that make the most sense in those, high octane close range battles. Always finishing your knocks and whatnot, but it will always get them points.
It's the advantage
good
of
example.
positioning. They've just set up in good spots to where they've been able to pick up 6 kills here without having to take a straight up gunfight where you're going to lose your teammate. It's just such a smart move right now, and Indiana's playing very strong.
Now, they will have to leave soon. I think that JNOP is trying to decide if he wants to sit here inside the bunker. I think that if they sit up here in the bunker, they will have to blue tank a little bit if they plan on leaving. Also, their big story is that on the eastern edge, one of the only teams that are actually not currently in the zone, they do have to make a really big rotate past a few teams, is Marietta College. They're going to be going right on past USC. Is this a crash? He's going to bypass it. It's really hard to tell. Martin taking, oh god, Martin taking a lot of damage and actually getting himself killed. That was two players in that car, and all of the UAZ actually rolled away. They couldn't decide if they wanted to stay or go. Black Bullet will pull up, trying to support his teammates. If he finds a knock, it could get it done, but nah. Chaotic with the humongous frag, taking those 2 players down. Black Bullet just keep going into Millie, find a nice closet to hide in. I think you're at this game doing anything else.
Even off that kit, the 2-man nade, Indiana was able to steal one of them.
Are you serious?
Indiana picking up another kill for nothing.
Oh,
look at him go.
God, it was Rubik's Cube. These guys, this team, they're actually like jerks. They're not insane. They're not crazy. They're just jerks stealing everyone's kills, man.
Jerks or 200 IQ? We'll leave that for you to decide.
They're the same thing. Dastardly smart people always getting all their good grades. All right, let's look around what else is going on. One of the teams that we haven't talked about, I think, at all today is West Texas A&M University. And they're looking, as they come in on the west side, like they're in an insanely advantageous position, completely uncontested on the west. The split from original loser is making me very, very nervous. I don't usually like 1-3 splits. I think that this particular one is a little unnecessary, but the rest of his team looks like they will actually be able to get a knock onto SA. Dude getting a big flank here on a team that came into those little tanks a little bit early. Very, very hard position to control if you're getting shot from your east and your west, and they're figuring that out right now the hard way.
With 4 kills right there, West Texas has more kills than they had in the first 3 games on Miramar.
Oh,
Fun
man.
to see a team that's lower on the scoreboard stepping up right here.
Definitely love it. Let's see if they can actually get this going. They're essentially playing as a 3-man original loser, going for placement, running for the center factory. Vision still trying to stay alive. Looks like he will buy enough time for Vision to get into cover, popping himself some health, and he is going to be falling back into a much more defendable location inside these tanks. Much harder to find, much harder to get shot, but it can be a little bit hard to tell when people are actually coming at you. Now with phase 7 popping though, it's going to be time for a lot of teams to make their move, and just in the nick of time, Black Bullet will be able to disengage from the push coming from USC, and they will not be putting themselves in a good spot to both assault the factory, but also to aggressively gatekeep Indiana University, who are left there on the far south side. They're beginning to smoke their escape out, and if they can pick up enough speed, they will be okay, but missing a tire here, they're going to need to be fast here, and it's going to be hard as they go into the factory.
South Carolina from those trying to weaken them up. West Texas only has 1 player in here, so they do have the chance of pushing in pretty easily.
Able to get inside. Like you said, a few players inside already in the form of original loser and Black Bullet. Loser playing very aggressively for a solo player. Indiana University now essentially knowing that there's something has to be in here with that Molotov being thrown the way it was. And USC making a play for the factory themselves. Oh man, there's 2 big teams in the middle of it all. In the middle of it all.
And spoilers to end it for them. Let's see how this plays out.
Oh man, I'll be curious to see if anyone actually goes for a push here, because USC, they're definitely in a strong centralized position here on this side of the factory. While Indiana University does have to push, so this isn't just like, you know, there's 2 teams in the building, they have to fight. Indiana University can start a fight. USC can start a fight, but neither team has to clear this. Neither team has to go all the way through. And as we're seeing, it's looking like USC is going to be aggressively trying to take control of this building.
Just staying quiet here in the corner. He definitely has the ability to play spoiler here as the man right between the turbines.
Oh man, this is gonna be real scary. Oh, they're coming into his room now. I think he might get one. Is he gonna pull the trigger? Oh my god. Can they see him through these? I don't think they can yet, but they're gonna be coming soon. They're looking for loot too. Oh my god! Oh, he gets one, and Manuel Beast. I wonder how fast his heart is racing at this point. Oh, but the rest of this team will find another full squad. These guys are not snakes that you can just squash. This is a full team that's looking to take a fight. And now the frags coming in, chaotic, realizing this is not the place to be, backing off right away. But once again, phase 8 has shrunk. Their side of the factory is in the zone. Indiana University's is not. They do not need to hold this far forward. It's a bit of a risk they don't have to take here.
West Texas with this weird split has actually ended up in a very strong spot, as anyone who tries to come out is going to have to face them. Definitely changes the game having the two biggest teams left in the building still.
Definitely. It's going to be hard for them to move, especially with up on the north side. McMaster University potentially gatekeeping them. They are going to be focusing their efforts a little to the west, mostly focusing on, okay, how do we rotate away from this rather than how do we gatekeep, it looks like. Although Indiana University with the big teams that does have to make a move right now. And Janop, frag leader, he's got 6 kills. Let's see what he can do when it's actually a CQC fight, but he's not using that many. USC is not really waiting for him. They have no idea what's going on. He is able to find a knock on the Gav as well. Great play there.
Great shots out of J-Knob. It looks like USC is quickly trying to go for this revive right there. Bold move right here with the push coming on.
Oh man, they're actually going to be stopping it. He's going to set the off angle into turbines, but a big push there from Rubik's Cube. Very, very aggressive there with a scar, but in the meantime, his other teammates, Janop, will be overextending into another full HP player. They actually have no idea where this guy is at, taking their finish on the Gab. Both plays very, very weak though. Rubik's Cube going for a push, while Gobble's going for the cover fire. And yeah, he has a little bit too much HP. The zone's at his back. Indiana University though, after losing Janop on an incredible overextension, like that was a really, really far play. Will be barely able to survive off of a nice angle being held by Rubik's Cube. He's going to get the res, but they're going to be staying alive. Oh, only one player as he gets his butt shot. Just
West
definitely
Texas
not
sees
as
the
smooth.
angle from this big split that they had outside and was able to just get that last tick finish onto the player from Indiana. Wow, just one left from that team, and holding the factory proves to the demise of both teams.
Uh-oh. And now Anxiety Bites in particular holding these guys off. I think that they'll be able to find a knock on Oblivion soon. This is phase 9, the last phase. I think that I2 Ain 831 is holding center zone, but Rubik's Cube, the last player from his team, trying to shoot his way. An original loser going to be holding this with him. A lot of firing ports, but oh, a lucky burst from Loser, bringing him down to low HP as he's forcing him further and further into the corner. Rubik's Cube coming back out. He has to move soon. The zone is at his back. Doing a first aid kit. Loser can definitely hear this, but he's going to be trying to link back up with his team, but that's going to put him in the open. Rubik's Cube potentially being able to find a knock here, but now Loser's positioning always very, very hard to capitalize on for Rubik's. He and his teammates would be able to take him down, leaving only Oblivion the ace alive. What can he get down to 2xM4? Not much. Ain able to find the SLR shot to end the game, and West Texas University with this is their first win of collegiate PUBG, right? And a good one it was as well.
A good 7-kill win, and that's amazing. They already doubled their kills from the first 3 games over on Miramar. Nice to see a lower team step up and have a huge day, and this is huge for them. Probably their first win. I believe going back, this is their first win in any of their games so far in CBA.
Definitely like that play there. They were very, very spread. They were very, very split. But they were able to sort of capitalize on the amount of aggression that other teams were employing and saying, all right, you guys are just going to tear each other to pieces. We're going to have like 1 or 2 guys over there to clean you guys up. That's all it's going to take. And then they'll be able to clean up every single side of the zone. Very, very nice stuff there. Honestly, for me, I think the big mistake there was Indiana University. I think that they could have very easily left that factory with 3 players alive instead of 1. At the very least, I think it was Gobble who ended up getting shot in the butt. He definitely didn't have to die. Just not being very cognizant of their surroundings, the adrenaline pumping, getting to their head, Janop going off all on his own, going for like 4 different angles that weren't clear by the rest of the team. They knew there was 1 play left up because he never got an insta, and they went down a little bit early due to that. That being said, due to their play in the previous phases of the game, they were already walking away before they went into that factory in the top 5 with like 6 kills. It's already a decent game for them.
It was nice to see them pick up those little kills, and these are little micro things that we can pick on. But you think of the macro plays, the circle shifts left military base pretty much edge of circle for a few circles to the point where it ended up still ending there, which allowed West Texas to have this huge split for the last 3 or so circles where they were able to pick up a few frags on the outside, weaken the people who were going to be left, and they easily were able to pick up this win when the two big teams that were left collided inside of this factory.
And I really hope for West Texas' sake that they're not doing too hot on the leaderboard. I hope this gives them the confidence to play their game. I want to see these teams that are middling, bottom part of the leaderboard. I want to see them really strut their stuff. And a lot of times that can just be due to confidence in being able to keep a cool head. I hope that this is one of those things that can help them do that as they go into the last game of the night.
The most beautiful part about Battlegrounds is anything can happen in any single game. The pure randomness and excitement, so many angles to hold, so many different strategies that can be employed. It's fun to see when someone new steps up to the plate.
For sure. Let's see if they can keep doing it, though. We're going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, Game 3, the final one of the night, will be coming to you guys soon. Once again, my little fuzzy seal, joined by T-Murph. We'll see you guys in a few minutes.
Sounds good.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Game 3. Bit of a delay while we were trying to figure out what exactly was going on with some of those custom servers, but we were able to make it in just fine. Now, as we're going in-game, it's looking like we have a pretty kind flight plan to end the night. However, between Iznaya ending in a military zone, I'm wondering what the game's going to throw at us this time right now, T-Murph.
We've seen 2 interesting circles here.
That's a
3
word
good
for it.
planes.
That's a word.
Like to see what happens here, what we're gonna see. Everything's different every game.
Oh, and even after getting demolished on Military Island beforehand, losing 2 players, ASU will be coming back and uncontested this time. Look at that.
This is their go-to drop, and they'll take it one more time. It looks like. Who's the other team? It was Marietta. Where'd they end up going? Looks like they're scattering around shelter and stuff.
Yeah, but that's not going to be for free for sure. As yep, they're committing real hard to shelter. Void and Dr. TikTok getting hard for the entrances, but Black Bullet. Wait, he doesn't go for the. Wait, they're contesting and fighting inside shelter.
Landed on the
He's
car
so far
and left
away.
it.
You can even drive it inside shelter. It's a good meme. It's a good meme, and it'll actually get you there faster. Well, right now it looks like Dolly gonna be getting inside first, which is gonna be good for his under-kitted and well unkitted teammate. But they get too close, he might find himself getting shot in the butt. This is a very, very scary place to push.
Luckily, off the doors they went in, they are on opposite sides of the shelter right now, so there are multiple rooms that will separate them as they run through and potentially meet in the middle.
I'm still really unclear on the layout of this place. It's really.
So actually, this was my primary drop for a while coming in when I
Oh.
first started playing. So I learned shelter pretty well here. They're on the opposite sides, and they will have to go a long ways before they meet up.
So
Actually,
even though they hear these footsteps, it's gonna take a long time for them to actually show up here. In other
right.
words.
Stacked audio does get a little confusing because this room's actually directly above where the room that where Morningside went in. Funny enough, but they're just gonna bail out here to the Dacia, take their one room of loot and get gone.
God, he didn't. He found like some headphones and he's just bouncing. Like that's all he's got. Definitely not the best drop in the world, but they are finding themselves inside Zone 1, which, okay, got Severny inside, got Yaznai in play, got Salver in play. We could still have a meme zone. It'll be a little bit before we figure out. It's been a while since I've seen a Stelper game. Wouldn't mind one of those for sure. But looking around, I think that for the most part, there aren't any too insane drops going on. We got a couple of guys driving past the southern Georgia. That might result in a fight. But I think one of the big things that I like that I'm seeing right now is that Indiana University have identified Rizak as an open drop location, and I've taken it very, very quickly since game 1.
They did take the scatter next to it first game, so it's nice to see them take this full city and have better loot on this game. Maybe
It's clear to see that that evolution, that thought process as well. It's like, all right, well, we dropped outside, but no one's in Rozak. We saw that. We were in our parachutes. We saw no one going Roz. So now when we drop in Roz in game 3, it's free. Okay, this is probably just going to be their drop moving forward. Roz is more than a good enough spot here. Decent car spawns, decent loot. It's kind of like a watered down Pachinki in a lot of ways.
I put it that way, but I think it's even safer to rotate out of most times, depending on which way you're going. If you're going towards school apps, can get a little bit more dicey.
Yeah.
But it does have more accessible routes to the north side if you do have to go above the river.
And it's looking a lot like that's where they're going to be going with how much water is in play on the northern side. Yeah, like, look, the northern bit of the zone is not even on our map right now. So I would put it more likely than not that this zone is going north of the river. And once you start looking up here at the middle of this zone, or at least like this area in particular, which the zone very well could end, compounds get incredibly strong. If you're not inside one, then you're almost better off dead. Wait,
There's some really good spots around here. That's some trash stuff that's just been put in recently.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah, it's relatively new for sure. But it's a fun one. I like the new little terrain areas that they've
Yeah.
added in areas that were just way too open uh, to begin with.
Compound still will be pretty strong, but this is going to be one of those things that'll help provide some line of sight blockers for guys trying to rotate, extra able to crash into if you're trying to rotate, and a decent spot to play if you're rotating and you have literally nothing else to go to. It's going to be about that rough, though. Meanwhile, okay, these guys act... okay, I guess they're just following like the rules of the road right now as they're continuing here off to the far east side. They'll be fun to find a bike for themselves, so going to be rewarded for following traffic laws, although... Binky, you got to pass soon. Oh, these guys, there's just smoke all over the place. These guys are no longer law-abiding citizens.
This is a move that I do like.
Whoa!
This is a move that I do like because Severny wasn't jumpable from the plane. First player from Cincinnati did make an early rotate to Severny. Was able to see, hey, no one's here. We can move the team in here, have a relatively decent position, and really get looted off this city that's in circle already.
Big fan of the play. They're going to be the only teams that are on the north side right now. A few more teams are trying to make their way in, some UCF on UCF action, but I think that Nomad Wrath should be able to rotate on by. What's going on close to that, though, is that outside the shelter area, Void, as they did not get themselves a car, have been forced to hoof it on foot, and now, oh man, that was not his teammate. That's a different player entirely. That looked like they... No, they're not going to be pulling up here, as it appears they'll be all getting inside these buildings and getting out of here. But wait. Are SAU steal these cars from from Morningside? Is that what's happening right now?
Looks like they do end up pulling up here. We're gonna have a little fight around the edge.
Nice flanks here. TikTok landing 1, 2, 3 shots into Kreenak. Good point, man, from Boyd being a great distraction. Spotting out Sauce on the other side. Oh, nice shot to the Bison. Still, we will not be seeing that gun to the kill feed quite yet. That's what happened. Saucepan to be holding his ground here, going for a prone. Very flankable on the wall. But oh, look at this. Steve-O outside, Vector in hand. Having to go for a reload, and a repeat is going to take him down. A nice dump two-man feed there from Buzz and Crimson. Other players who are trying to provide a little bit of covering fire, while Void will be able to down and kill Sauce Panda. That might be the first Bison kill. And it might be the last as well. Just out of the open, scurrying for the building. That AK kicks like a mule, though. He is able to scurry inside. Crimson trying to get the follow-up, but it's going to be a little bit late, as he will get shot in the side by Dr. TikTok. Great taps from the AK. Not normally again you see precise at that range.
To it, Bob here. Just one left from SAU, holding in those little RVs out front there. See if they make a together push.
Oof.
Gets the headshot. 82 Dink, yeah.
All he's got left
No
is a
helmet
sneaky looking mask. That's not going to be enough to stop another headshot with the Bison. God, his head's not feeling it, man. That's just... I mean, I don't blame him for aiming for that. That looks real spooky, man.
Good shots there out
you
of
can
Morningside.
even see his eye. Oh, I don't like that at all. I'm going to go over here. Hey, what's up, ASU? Oh boy. Going on by. 3 to 4. You'll be hearing the shots coming out from D to D. We'll be able to rotate around this to the northeast. Good scouting there from his team. They will be able to follow suit. Although I think that Morningside PUBG might be able to get some shots. Nah, with a Bison, only a few players left up. It's unclear whether or not they even want to put shots on a rotating team. And knowing AC, they might just pull up and try to take them out anyway, which is, I don't think it will be too good for the two-man.
Yeah, it does seem like they're just going to let them roll by here. As well, a few of these other compounds. Maybe a few shots here and there, but nothing substantial to put damage onto these cars with the good lines that ASU's driving.
Alright, we're looking at the map. There's quite a few teams that have made their way into the center. A couple of players already contesting some of these centralized apartments. 3 to 4, we saw him rotating in earlier, but now he's gotten himself in a very, very scary situation going up against a team already inside these apps. He can be holding a very, very tight angle. He can do this for now, but there's a lot of teams that might end up putting themselves in spots around him, might even be able to see them there on the side. But as the phase 2 pops, we will indeed be getting a Stalber zone here, which means that Yaz is going to be very, very useless to be in. And I mean, it looks like Brute is going to be here. He's trying to kill his teammates to get him out, and he's going to get knocked as well. Oh,
and gets the flush off that nade. What a turn. Oh, that's horrible for Arizona.
Man, if it's not doo-doo, it's themselves that are just taking them down. Knowing ASU, they still might get on later into this game, but Prap TV is looking like he wants to choke them out here. Punslayer, nope, he's still playing inside. We'll be able to get Prap through the window. Nice stuff there. fork his own fight, will lose it though. In the meantime, Pun flushing his own kill, getting hit in the back. He's gonna be trying to cover the angle that Fear to Fork was covering, can no longer do so as he no longer exists in the portal foil. Nice re-peek there onto Yansa, taking him down. And it looks like as he makes his way into the apartment, still trying to be a sneaky snake on the good angle. But nah, Age, good reflexes, will be able to take him down there.
UCF only loses one and is able to wipe the entirety of ASU because of that terrible nade, or because of that great nade and the terrible card knock.
Other team was also able to be taken down. I think that was USC, who we just saw become eliminated. Yeah, Chaotic, Gavaziz, and Emmanuel Beast. Definitely a very early exit for them. But FSU, playing this far south, has put them in some marvelous gatekeeping scenarios. Meanwhile, a lot of teams that are trying to show up in strong spots at Stalber are now finding out that a lot of their teams are already there, specifically UCF Gold. Kenboy, Ox Johnson, Span, Cargo, and Nomad already picked themselves in a good spot, but with some of the changes made to Stalber, there's quite a few spots to pull up under and around them. For example, this spot that Buckeye Gaming Collective have taken, it's going to be very, very hard to dislodge this four-man team from this position.
There are many more little hill towns around here, which makes playing Stalber that much more exciting. The fight up the hill is something that's fun to watch every time.
I'm really liking the teams that are going up to the north there. It's generally an underplayed area. That being said, one of the biggest issues I see in lobbies like this, where it's unclear where everyone always drops, is that a lot of people are saying, basic logic is that, hey, X is underplayed, I'm going to do that. And then everyone does that. We're already kind of seeing this happen with two more teams, three if you would include Happy Feet, making their way in on the north side here. One of these teams gonna be Oblivion and the rest of his boys at McMaster University. Getting themselves a lot of cars, getting themselves nice buggies, which are actually gonna be very, very nice as they rotate around. But as Sir Levin's looking out the window, he's saying, that's a boat over there. Easy shots as he tries to take Binky out of the game, who has the reflective level 3 armor and an AUG. Only a couple players from that team were able to pull up those. So it looks like he should be able to get out nice and safe.
Trying to make his way along. McMaster might be setting up further down the coast here to take even more shots. He's trying to get to his teammate who's already made it to this compound right here.
Now, how is Philoxes going to react? It looks like he's moving out toward the gunfire, trying to give his teammates some cover. We also have another player just cruising down the coastline. What in the world? How did they get away with this? Oblivion just letting him go. He has to do a double take saying, wait, that's not my team. I need to go back and get shots. But already, just Philoxes, and oh man, he's going for the roadkill. Will not go for it, and he's going to be continuing on forward. Definitely considered pulling up there, but Philoxes a little bit too scared. But Indiana University already pulling up. Janop hearing these shots going off from his team. He's going to be forcing Oblivion out of his car, making it detonate. Oblivion definitely panicking a little bit, but Janop not having the reaction he needed to immediately remove Oblivion from the game, but might be able to do so soon. This high ground, very, very strong when he's not contested on his flanks.
Able to get the knock here, just rotating that ridge line. An easy pickup here after he had to pull up when his car almost blew up.
His team making a very, very precarious rotate in the meantime through Stalber, trying to sidle alongside Kvop, who are already holding one of the spots that I definitely like, this little ridge line on the side. But they're not stopping. They're gonna keep going. Well, dude's gonna try to keep going, but Dacia not the best thing to use in these off-road scenarios. While Sir Lemons, and I hate to say this, but the buggy that is actually being used quite well, even though I hate the buggy, is going to get him up to a pretty high ground spot. And as phase 3 pops, the zone's actually going to go away from Stalber. So all these guys that are committed to the north and the central parts of phase 2 are now going to be left out quite a bit, as it's going to be going back down the hill, back to this reverse slope. And this side of the zone has much less good terrain to play. There's the warehouses, and that's pretty much it.
So many teams did commit to Stalber and up the hill. It's going to be a fight coming down the hill now as it is.
That's the large shots ringing out in the meantime. FSU on the right side of the exchanges. Look at this, Grand Canyon University getting torn to pieces as every single player from this team lost their peak battles in various capacities, one of them even getting knocked here. This is going to allow FSU to potentially go for a push. But I think they were only going into this as a 3-man to begin with. Yeah. So all they've done now is they are also forcing these guys to pull back and go for some heals. These frags going to be removing their ability to peek easily. You see is going for a push, but some nice angles being held by Diddy. He's going to prevent this from happening. This is also, as well, a bit of a rematch, I believe, from a previous game. Let's see if they can get done as Millipanda. Lost all his teammates. Going to go for a flank, but Diddy, man, just holding the angles that he needs to. Definitely cranking up the volume in his headphones up to 11. Able to hear all the flanks and putting his rifle where his opponents are.
A few knocks here, but GCU was able to full wipe FSU without losing anyone. That's huge, and now they have this whole side of Stallberg just to themselves.
Other side currently being held by British Columbia, who look like they're currently being a thorn in the side of Indiana University. I believe they're able to get a knock and even a kill on the currently rotating team on the west side. And this is not an easy situation for them, as they have found themselves pinched between not 2, but 3 different teams if you include Stallberg up top. BGC are currently fragging themselves, I believe. But beyond that, there also is a team right on their doorstep. Nomad Wrath is going to be heading up this aggression for his team. That scare shots mean they're not going to be ready. Nomad Wrath is running right out, taking him down. Left side as well. Oh my god, Rubik's Cube. No idea what was coming. Kenboy will get straight up, but Toxic Mother is like unaware of Nomad Wrath right here. Are there headphones on?
That was one of the boldest pushes I've seen, and they didn't get punished for that at all. He was able to make the quick flick, and with the help from his teammate, take off that guy who was going to low flank him. Just a great fight there out of UCF, holding the back of their pushing teammate.
And in the meantime, because UBC was engaging pretty hard and were able to find a knock on the Buckeye Gaming Collective, Buckeye could not go for the third party that in any other scenario they absolutely should have gone for. So now they're left here on the edge of the zone in phase 4, not in the safe area, with 2 teams taking their direct ways. And now Nomad is overstaying his welcome on the fight that he has just won. Looting very heavily onto the edge. His team has all left him as well, because they kind of are aware that you really need to start going at this point. Stallberg's not a safe place. Even if you kill one team, another one could pop up right where the other one was. And yeah,
that's exactly what's happening.
He has to fight here. I can hear them very clearly as well. Hope the suppressor.
I don't think he did.
Yeah. Hope the
quickly flush, but the rest of his team is pulled back and set up in strong positions further back on the hill and in circle. Let's see if they can keep out Buckeye on this edge of the circle.
Well, they have a team that are still above them in the form of UBC. Shabs looking like he might want to get on the line here to take some shots. Yeah, he's heading directly for UCF gold. I don't think that he knows exactly someone's up here. He hears the shots. He actually sees Span Cargo, and if she stops moving for a second, then her head is going to go flying off. Shabs making sure his Car 98 is well fed and ready for the fight to come, as he and his team might even begin a fragging barrage, but no, UCF repositioning back under the ridge line. Very, very lucky for them. And actually, look, they were overcommitting to this. All of a sudden, Jagood and Gumdrop coming out of nowhere, tearing half of their team to pieces.
GCU followed behind and picked off 2 stragglers out of UBC. They'd been taking those shots down the hill, and GCU heard it, followed, and got those kills out of the people who were slow to rotate out of Stallberg.
This is going to be partially bad for UBC here. Have now forced themselves into an edge side spot. Going to be completely removing any sense of surprise from UCF Gold. But this is really bad for Buckeye Gaming Collective that are now having another team on top of this hilltop. They will be seeing Shabs, who's currently preoccupied, who hasn't looked down yet. Gavov will say, hey, pay attention to me. And almost getting one knock on a Cruzy. Another bolt action shot from the teammate there. Will send both players into cover. The frags coming in going to be very, very long range. Hard to land those effectively. But GCU chasing them all the way down this hill. Cruzy going down, only leaving Shabs alive. This is not a good spot for him. But Kenboy still pushing up, still making a lot of noise. But Gavov, once again, just wrong place, wrong time in general for Buckeye Gaming Collective, as they're probably going to get choked out of this game here very, very soon.
The winner out of all this fighting right now still seems to be GCU on top of this hill, able to pick up another one out of UBC. And the Buckeyes finished the last one. UBC is done now. 2 teams down the hill that GCU is still chasing on to.
I think that you should be able to get into cover there, at least from Span Cargo, bringing Warden down very, very low. But GCU, they can hear these shots. This is what UBC originally wanted to do, and now it's going to be GCU inheriting that fight. Grand Canyon, they got 7 kills. They're looking to see if they can turn into 10, taking the high ground here, right over the heads of the rotating UCF Gold. Burst fire is all it's going to take. He will have one shot put towards him, but that's a 1-for-1 trade that GCU are more than happy to take up. But Span Cargo here in the close range. AK3 coming out, needs these knocks. Finding one, but oh, she keeps going. And in the meantime, her team going down as well. She didn't buy her team enough time, and she didn't get the knocks that she needed to prevent GCU from just tearing them to pieces. They are going to be getting control of the north side for now if they can get these reses. But McMaster University's SA dude going to be getting another knock here. And now all of a sudden, these guys are on their back foot. If they get these reses, it's going to be fine. If they don't, they could find themselves getting a finish in 8th place.
Looking so strong for a second there. If they can keep making their way in, they do have a lot of kills to play off of, but not a lot of room, as already 2 big teams have taken up this edge of the circle, and 2 are about to clash.
Oh man, the only question is how are they going to play? It looks like PIO and McMaster are taking heavy gatekeeping spots on the edge of the zone. GCU have about a minute to make a play, and right now it looks like the play is a blind smoke push directly into the boys in green, and today they see the smoke, they know where they have to be. Line up the AK, can't quite find the shots they need to. Another frag follow-up coming in. Oh, that is looking pretty good with the rest of the team. Oh, there it is, on to Diddy. Great arm there. And now GCU, they're just running into the open. They have no cover to work with. They're pinched between 2 teams. It's one bad situation into another worse one. Although, McMaster University looks like they got hit on the side by Buckeye Gaming Collective, which will allow Gumdrops and maybe even their teammate to come in at close range. SA Dude spray, but Gumdrop not able to make the high ground advantage work in their favor. Good hold there from SA Dude. As long as his green doesn't kill himself, he's...
He killed off his teammate with it. Oh, jeez.
Oh, no. Oh, man. That's not good. Now, Happy Feet will be going down anyway. Oh, that's a nice moving shot. God, D2 is so good. Almost taking on the entire team on their own. And now SA Dude. Last player alive, waiting for a player that'll never come. Buckeye Gaming disengaging. And PIO already having cleared up the north side. And look, we still have 2 Yaz teams this whole time as well. One of them is West Texas as well.
Look at them hanging in here. West Texas is showing up today. We love to see it.
Well, they got 0
the
kills,
circle's
though.
coming soon. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes you just got to make it to late, and then the kills come. Get a feel of them, and a win.
I don't know if this is one of those times. I don't know if this is one of those times, Murph. Like, they got to go uphill. They're getting heavily gate-kept here. Now, Vitamin is going to be trying to put some cover fire out, but nah. Bond's guard. Proven why bolt actions are sometimes good in the hands of a marksman. Original loser making the same play, but God, these guys just don't miss with these bolts. Bonds guard letting another body to loser. Now, he would be dead if there were more DMRs on this team, so he will be able to actually get this res off. But 5, 4, 3 seconds left before the zone begins to shrink. There on the edge. There's not only a team to their east, but there's also MSC to their north. And they can hear this start happening. A needs to find a nice knock right now, and it's looking like he has run out of time. Well, in more ways than one.
And another bolty shot, strong from UCF coming low. And with Morningside there, they are fighting the Buckeyes right now.
Rotating in. Shots we're going to buy. Loser trying to get some cover out while Vitamin makes the run. Very sacrificial play coming out from Loser. I think he's going to be okay. Looked back for a second, thought about helping out his bud, but nah. Leaving him to take this fight here as he continues on into the zone to the north side. UCF Black is going for a similar play, though. Bondsgard kind of being his own quote-unquote sacrificial play as he covers West Texas. That's actually just kind of turned into him demolishing them. Look at this. Only needs one more body. It's actually going to be Ogie who finds it. And now Vitamin playing the high ground. Another this teammate is well and surely dead. Will be fully disengaging from this fight. And actually the high ground team as well that could have taken him down. Morningside PUBG, who is still rocking the Bison, by the way. Not actually going to be in position to take shots at Vitamin.
They could peek off this hill and have an easy frag, but they got into a fight earlier here with Buckeye. Now they're slowly making their way in. Vitamin's going to find the way to the cliffs and just hold right underneath it.
Hard fight for them ahead. They also only have a UMP, which at the ranges some of these fights that can happen on this hill can be a little bit awkward. Guess if you have a DMR, it can be okay. But they've also made it into the top 5, which is going to start to secure them some more points. But when you're in the zone, sometimes you just want to start chilling out here. And with Vitamin getting spot out here by one of these high ground teams, they're definitely not going to move, hoping that they kind of get forgotten. while another team, Dr. TikTok and Void 13, begin creeping their own way in here on the north side.
I don't think they've spotted him out there, and so they think they have an open area of the circle after winning the fight that they had. The big matchup here is going to come between Cincinnati and Marietta up here on top of this hill.
Oh. He has 2 frags. He's spotted out a player with no helmet. I think he's waiting for his team to get in position. Nah, he's pulled the trigger there. Nice kill there onto Fakeaholic. Binky and Philoxy's down on the low ground as well. Will not be able to be taken down here yet by Martin. Juju and Dally look like they may be trying to get in position, but most they're leaving this fight to their teammates. Juju trying to put fire and put pressure out onto the other side of the zone will be actually resulting in a knock on the Void. Now, is Vitamin in a position to see what just happened? Nah, they're hugging this tree.
Still holding soft, and it's within 50 meters here, 25 even, so close, and they're getting flushed from down the hill right now.
Surprising they couldn't find him. And oh, it was actually Bonsguard again!
This man has been hitting some shots. What a great shots that he's having.
Oh,
I don't
man.
know what he's seen him through. Maybe a little hole in the leaves.
Looks like MSC will be able to get those reses off. Dudu still holding firm while their team, Dally and Martin, are left to deal with the last serving play here from Cincinnati. Just Binky, and Dally might actually be forced to go for a jump shot. Oh, he gets sliding a little bit, but he is able to get that kill before he almost breaks his legs sliding down that hill.
Makes a good play, and Marietta doesn't lose any, and is able to secure this whole top side of the circle for themselves. Now it's going to come down to who can hit the shots.
I think that Void 13 is going to be seeing a very quick end of this game here. As Dudu landing only one more shot to land it, will be able to find it through the smoke. 3 kills now onto this very, very accurate nerd. And now 3v3, excuse me, but with a relative height and, you know, positioning advantage in favor of Marietta. But this high ground might not last forever, and if and when that happens, Marietta is going to have a very hard time getting down this hill into this barren wasteland, well, of cover, or lack thereof.
So like you said, the high ground advantage here is definitely for Marietta, but it looks like they don't have center circle here. UCF has pushed up enough to where they have a closer person to center in Bonsguard.
Oh, and they know it too. That frag, if it was cooked a little bit less, it would have taken him down. And he also going down as well. UCF Black, all they had to do was hold them off without getting a single one of their own players killed. They don't need to find knocks, but they need to not be knocked themselves. Turning this into a 3v2, though, is going to allow a huge amount of aggression. As Marietta running out in the middle of the open, we'll be able to use some very, very curious ridge lines here to actually prevent Bonsguard from taking them down. And with Martin and Dally covering them from the far left and right sides, Dally's frag here might actually take Bonsguard down if it's chucked right. Nah, not even close. Way too far.
Tries, but it's just such a long nade throw from back there. Circle is slowly collapsing, and they've lost part of their ridge line up high.
Yeah, I think that Dally in particular can't actually hold this spot. However, I think that he actually can just flank Bonsguard here. It's really curious that he hasn't yet. A lot more pressure on Bonsguard would prevent him from doing almost anything. Though as he begins to come down, he has 5 smokes. I think he needs to have already popped them, if I'm not mistaken. Uh-oh. Dally might be going down here, maybe to the zone, but also maybe just to his own kind of like lack of awareness in his blue. Yeah, a double tap? That was an accident. He has no idea where the blue was at that point. Still, though, Martin full picking up his slack, able to find the knock onto Bonsguard, and that is going to leave only Ogier alive here. Still trying to find some cheeky knocks. He needs to land these. No, doesn't land a single shot on either player. No momentum going in his favor. He's on the edge, and now it is Martin and the rest of his teammates that have control of the zone. Dudu even going in for a quick peek on the left to not only flush Bonsguard, but take Ogier out of the game. Sees that little arm. The only question is who's going to get this kill at this point.
Yeah, so it's just like a clean win coming out of Marietta here, coming off the top of the hill. Right through the smoke and gets him.
Ran to the left there, but Martin was able to spot that before he got into Dudu's point of view. Great win there for Marietta. Definitely a very, very nice showing in a sort of a micro sense in game 2. Dudu landing a lot of those shots onto some players early in that game, and they definitely showed up in game 3 saying, hey, Dudu's not the only one who make those shots. Martin get a lot of those as well, and Dally providing some very, very good support, even if he did get tickled a little bit by the blue at the end of the game there. Very, very nice play from a very, very scary zone, which looked like it kept going back and forth between Yaz, and specifically that shift from phase 3 to 4 that punished hard all the teams that went north and ditched their cars. That was the really big turning point of the game. The teams that survived that were the ones that were in position to take control of the game. And at the end of the day, it was Martinful, Dudu, and Dally, and Black Bullet that were able to do so to the greatest effect.
Also, big shouts to Grand Canyon. They did play really well up on top in Stalwart and picking up those kills, sweeping down. They were able to have 12 kills, still going out in 8th, but a 12-kill 8th place still nets you some pretty solid points.
Definitely.
With a point a kill.
And they took out some strong teams as well. That was a humongous showing from them. Hopefully they can bring it out more, but that's going to be it for us today. When we come back next week, it'll be week 5 out of 6. I don't think I'm going to be there for any of those games, but I should be back in the 6th and final week. So in the meantime, hope you guys have a good time watching, playing, and Murph, if you're casting, we have a good time casting those games. But I think that'll be it from us for a little bit here. Any closing remarks before we close out the stream there, Murph?
A lot of fun games to see. A lot of new teams stepping up. Always fun to see what can happen in PUBG.
All right, heard it here. PUBG's great game to watch. A lot of stuff can happen in it. It's a video game. Stuff happens, and we hope you join us next week where more stuff is going to happen. We'll see you then.
Stuff will happen.